Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today on an Invisible Sun one shot called The Hunt. I am Mare, and I will be your lovely game master for the evening, and before you, we have our lovely Vizsla. For those of you not familiar, Invisible Sun is a game created by Monte Games set in the setting world of the actuality, specifically under the indigo sun of Saturnine, the sun of truth. And we'll follow our Vizsla today on their hunt. Before we quickly get started, I'd like everyone to quickly go around, just tell us who you are and who you're playing and their character sentence. Sarah, do you want to go first?
I would love to. Hello, y'all. My name is Sarah L. Kinney. You can find me around the Twitter sphere at that. But more importantly, today I will be playing Elliander, the iconoclastic Stormheart of the Vancian Order, who turns tales into reality.
Swapper.
Hello, I'm Swapper, and today I will be playing Mierge, an ardent weaver who wanders in delirium.
Anniek.
Look, I muted myself before I went. I'm Anniek. You can find me on Twitter at Anniekster. And today I will be playing Aletris Aya, an established gallant of the Order of Weavers who revels in beauty.
And last but not least, Mitch.
Hi everyone, I'm Mitch D. Today I will be playing Don Artas. He is a aromatic gallant apostate who dwells in darkness.
As always, with each game, we start off with our first sooth pull of the night on the Silver Sun, the Sun of Beginnings. The Banished Serpent. Value of 3. Mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. So if you are a stoic, you get a +1 to all your ventures until the next card pull. Meanings: balance, exile, and punishment. Vizsla no exile, but for them and their time in shadow, the exile was self-imposed. The banished serpent was cast out, sent back from whence it came. Banishment rids us of a problem, but it does not bring it to a permanent end. It is rarely a true solution. Rather, it is most often a punishment. We banish those who have threatened us or wronged us because exile is what they fear. The fact that it ends the threat, at least temporarily, is just an added benefit. As a punishment, then, it is an act of balance, an appropriate and measured response to an unwanted act. Silver magic is upped in its potency, while gold is hindered, and since it is played on the Silver Sun, it is doubly so. The four of you have just left Fartown, your home. Artas in the distance, in the back, you can see your clock tower as you pass through the arch into the hollows, and the four of you make your way to the Indigo Rail, which will transport you to the Confederacy cloisters on the southern edge of the city. You are all accompanying Aletris to gather materials for a client of hers in the Undersling. The Undersling is a dangerous place, and we'll leave it at that. As you all board the Indigo Rail and it makes its way south, the destroyed parts of the city whip by you as this train moves in unbelievable ways and around destroyed buildings, but you feel nothing on the inside, as it is a fairly smooth ride. As you travel, why don't you all describe your characters for me, please? Let's go backwards this time. Artas.
Artist is a taller gentleman from what the body form can tell you. He's dressed in a very fashionable three-piece black suit with white pinstripes. He has a very stylish walking cane, though it appears he does not need it. It is more of a accessory or fashion item more than a need for him to get around. Artist is very unique in the fact that his face is almost as if a complete white marble flat front with two very round, dark, emotionless eyes. and no other features. Um, he's very stoic, and he sits very properly, just kind of staring directly in front of him, waiting for whatever task at hand is to come.
Aletris.
Aletris, I mean, technically it's still a humanoid form, but everything's a little exaggerated. Like, you took an all-American beauty queen and everything's just a little too much, and yet it works. And then just because everything's just a little bit different here, and if you want to be perfect, you have to fit in. So she added black eyes and quite large black wings. Her nails are more like claws, but they're perfectly manicured with a little French tip. And she's scribbling in a little notebook, sketching little things.
Mierge.
Mierge is probably humanoid, and they might have white skin. They're very difficult to look at. There's a hand, maybe, but attached to an arm you probably can't quite tell as the world shifts around them. There is a smile on perhaps a face, and red eyes blink lazily beneath skin.
And Elliander.
Elliander also has a form that is humanoid broadly, but as we start at their core, we see they always wear deep black dresses and gowns that flutter around their body, and their eyes are that deep, inky black color, and their long hair is always pulled up into a ashen black ponytail that whips behind them. But as we move from core to fingertips, and as we move from core to toe tips, we see that where one might wear gloves or boots, this part of their body has been replaced by glass. And these small panes of stained glass are always fluttering, shimmering, moving, and changing, making at first kaleidoscopic patterns. They move through shapes and forms, and sometimes through images.
The four of you are gathered on the Indigo Rail. You have some time before arriving in the Confederacy of Cloisters, which is a religious district, but is the only largest entrance down into the Undersling, which is your destination. There is a teenager several seats down from your group, but you can smell an overwhelming scent of lemon drafting from him over to you. You have some time. The time is yours.
Is it a pleasant lemon smell, as in happy we're in a lemon orchard in Italy in spring lemon? Or is it, oh my god, he dunked himself in bathroom cleaner lemon?
That one.
Ew, that is just unpleasant.
That's the power of Pine Sol, baby.
Ugh. That's... And again, I haven't collected a set. What does this teenager look like?
Kind of gangly, but short. They are looking down at like a card, a small book pamphlet that they're reading.
Mm-hmm.
Dark brown
like,
hair,
oh,
bright
so
yellow eyes.
At least there's that.
Are you eyeing people again?
I mean, it's workable.
Is it?
Everything is. I'm just gonna be
That
right
is
back.
an opinion, perhaps.
No, I'm just gonna be right back. This is... Aletris will grab one of her little business cards. I think for this teenager, we're probably going to go with the one that's burned into a horn. And she'll just go over and sort of slide it onto the book. Go, ever feel ready to deal with that? Do look me up.
They just... Do you immediately leave after saying this?
Yes. Look, they're clearly not ready yet.
They in surprise look down at this book that you've suddenly put your business card on top of and just watch you go. Mierge, Artas, and Elliander, they're just staring at Aletris's back as they walk away.
Artis would slowly turn his head, very emotionless, non-blinking, large, black circular eyes, just to catch the gaze of the young man, and just stare at him as they're watching, Altris walk away.
Looks back down at their book to not look at you.
And turn back to looking straight ahead of him again.
It just has my name, the changery I work at, and I've scribbled a few added suggestions where they might want to start.
Elliander, what are you doing during the railroad ride?
I think Elliander leans over to Mierge and whispers rather softly, Now, I must admit, I've only known Aletris at the changery or at the place of business, but is this normal? Because if it is, I'm a fan.
Do you want to think it's normal?
I mean, what
It
really
could
is
be.
normal?
I might have seen her do that before.
But you might not have.
Exactly. Well then, does somebody want to tell me what exactly we're searching for? Or, don't.
I mean, I'll tell you, if only because then I can watch you twist it into other little things, and that's always entertaining. So, we're going to the Undersling, as I hope you're well aware, because that's why I'm taking you. Let's face it, I'm too young and pretty to get beat up. We need to go to Pinion Court, where they punish the angels. And then we need to get some feathers, and then we need to get out with the feathers.
You also know that you need to go right to the Marquis' quarter to also deal with your clients as well.
Yes, but I didn't know.
Okay, that's fine.
They don't know who my client is.
They can't hear me. It's okay.
Good. And then we get out and we deliver.
If anyone would like to, you're more than welcome to roll an intelligence test to learn more about the Undersling.
Ooh, I would like to.
Can we only learn about the
Would I?
Undersling, or can we focus on Pinion Court?
You could focus on Pinion Court if you would like to.
I would. I kind of need those feathers.
And since this is, for me, my first time playing Invisible Sun, which I'm really excited about, can you just real quick walk us through rolling for rolling that
Of
roll?
course. So, what you need to do is you have a challenge, which is this task's challenge that you need to meet or beat. And I'll say the challenge for this is a 4. If you don't want to add any benefits like an intelligence bene or hidden knowledge, or if you have any applicable knowledge skills, you're gonna just straight roll. If you would like to spend effort as in bene, like an intelligence or a hidden knowledge, you will add those together and let me know. Subtract those from the challenge, and then you roll your d10. If whoever is rolling, if you would like to roll add a bene, please let me know. Yes?
Do I have anything to add?
You don't have anything in intelligence?
I have 3 in my pool, but my bene and everything, it's very interaction focused.
Okay, that's fair. Would anyone like to apply hidden knowledge, which is just random bits of information that may or may not help you? No?
So we would just, if we wanted to take 1 point off this, I could add 1 point of hidden knowledge.
Correct.
Okay, then I will add, and that would help whoever's rolling then.
Yes, it's individuals only.
Oh, individuals, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just gonna roll for it. Possibly go wrong.
So who is adding
Same.
benes? Yes? No? No? Okay. So, roll your d10 and let me know what you get. You're looking for a 4. Okay, you got a 4. And if you've added Bene or Hidden Knowledge, you're going to take that away from the challenge and you'll roll 1 or 2 less. 7. Eletris. 8, 9. You are all successful in the challenge today. I will start with Aletris, since you are mostly focusing on Pinion Court. You know that Pinion Court is located in the Undersling. It is essentially a cobblestone square where angels are tried and punished when they have committed a crime or have fallen. The entire square is always covered in feathers, as when angels are tried there, their wings are ripped from them. You know that angel feathers never decay, and when they are torn in humiliation, they are not subject to wind, so it is always eerily silent and still there. And they just litter the plaza. Everyone else, you are aware of a saying in the Undersling. Tough enough for the Undersling. Violence begets violence. And in response, those who live there, well, I damn do hope so. The Undersling is the toughest and one of the most dangerous parts of the city, and it hangs and is mostly under the Confederacy of Cloisters district and the Palindrome. It is very difficult to reach and is unpleasant. People who visit there usually are only looking for a couple things: weapons, fighting, and it's impossible to think of any other reason to go there. There's...
Did you say palindrome?
The Palindrome is another district in the city. The Undersling itself is underneath these districts, and it is probably like a 2 to 3 mile wide district on a large chunk of land hanging by chains and ropes from the ceiling. You know that a curse was placed upon it, which puts it in a constant seat of decay, and the entire district is always falling apart, evident by the fact of the bridge is on top of a destroyed bridge, on top of another destroyed bridge, and chains continuously fall. It is also the home of many fighting rings, trainers, and the city's largest and most secure prison, called the Neverlight Prison. It is a rough place. Was there any other specific information you were trying to glean?
Are any rules against taking those feathers?
You don't think so, no. You've never heard of it. It is very much a district where each person for themselves. And if you can hold your own, there's no reason why not.
I can't, but that's why I brought friends.
Yes. You also know that since this is underneath the city and a little darker and danker, it is not uncommon to find roach goblins and rat goblins down there.
Hideous? I don't like it.
Yes. Also, Visley need to work a little harder to prove themselves down here. It's like straightforward battle magic is cool. People encourage that, but like sly shit, not very well looked upon here. Yeah.
Oops. I mean, it'll be great. I was gonna get close to the more dangerous people, because everyone knows I'm just pretty and harmless.
Of course.
Definitely. How long is this train ride?
At this point, you are coming into the station at the Confederacy of Cloisters, the religious district with all of its mausoleums and tombs and what you could only broadly call churches and places of worship. And I'm going to pull the next Sooth card. The Dangerous Elixir, played on the Green Sun. Value of 1. Notions cast clocks and wind. If you are an ardent, you get a +1 to all your ventures. Meanings: power, transformation, risk, and consequence. Powerful magic comes in a small, perhaps even innocuous forms. The Dangerous Elixir proves that to be true. It is powerful and transformative, but it is a boon or a bane. Are the potion's effects harmful or helpful? It's all about the risk you're willing to take and the consequences you're willing to face. Indigo magic is enhanced, gray is hindered. As you step off of the train, you are met with this religious district. The young teenager kind of like pushes past your group, smelling of this pine saw lemon, and hurries out.
I think you scared him. Then.
Good. Maybe I scared him into improving himself. Eventually.
That's where I think the smart money, I think, is on that one. You included suggestions on the card, right? How could he not act
Definitely.
upon them immediately?
How could he?
You know, Mierge, I think maybe this is just the place for you. Why don't you lead the way?
Why not?
Wonderful. I'm just gonna link arms with Elliander. And make sure Artas is watching my back. Because I don't want to be here, but I got it.
Oh, this isn't the district that you should be scared of. This district is usually fairly quiet and calm. Except
They're religious people.
Hey,
except
that's the GM lying. This
except
isn't the
for
district
when
you should be scared of.
funeral processions that are very common march through. You are leading the way, Mierge?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You are easily able to lead your way through this district. It's fairly organized, and you see mausoleums and tombs scattered throughout this thing. There's even a very large plot of land which kind of moves and grows of these buildings modeled after mausoleums. There's like a little sign called the museum, called the Garden of Mausoleums, right there. But that's not where you're going. Roughly in the middle of the district, there is a large stone staircase leading deep into the earth. And you can feel cool air coming up from below. It's actually very quiet right now. There aren't a lot of people near this entrance. As I said before, why would you want to go into a place that is all about fighting and danger and crime?
I think we might be there.
I think you're right. I'm just gonna rearrange my tool belt so everything sharp and bloodied and with bits of flesh on it is on top and visible. Everything that doesn't look like it could dismember someone can go into my bag. I do apologize for the horrendous noise I make now because I'm clangy.
But anyone
I
else?
think Elliander sees this and begins to follow suit. Aletris, you seem... Now, I think that we've only, in the past, spent time together within your shop, but you seem to know the lay of the land here. Or at least, the way to navigate it.
It's important to seem confident in all affairs. Artas?
Elliander moves a bladed fan to kind of the front of their hip, mirroring what Aletris is doing.
You can just see Aletris admiring your hands and feet, by the way. Nice.
What was that, Artis?
Wait, we should talk expansion.
Artist just stands behind, kind of feet shoulder width apart, and he's got both of his hands just flat palmed on top of his cane. And there's where one would assume a mouth on that very marble-esque white face. There's a small bit of a blackish line starting to form. Very straight with just a small kind of upturn in each corner.
Mierge imitates Elliander's movements, though without a blade. Well then, do we want to go?
Needs must.
The walk down into underneath the district is long, and the farther you go, the colder it gets. Eventually, you open into a very, very large cavern that stretches off into darkness as far as you can see, past this large body of city hanging from the ceiling. You see hundreds, thousands of ropes and chains and cables, all attached to the ceiling, keeping it hovering above this pit. You see wood and metal platforms where hundreds of buildings rest. But it's not easily walkable. You do see a bridge leading from where this staircase is to the undersling. It doesn't look the safest. It looks rocky, and it does sway a little bit as this underground wind blows throughout your hair. You also see a couple of people talking to each other, and lean against a skiff or two. And they seem to be talking, and they glance at you as you come back down. And since we have entered another district, another sooth card is pulled. On the blue sun, we play the devil. Value of 0. Secrets, ravens, books and flames. Temptation, lies, charm, persuasion, and words. My players in the offline game's favorite card. The nemesis of secrets is the prince of lies, the devil. Of course, there are many devils. Their commonality is their need to corrupt the world around them. Charming, sexy liars that seek to draw mortals into their own evil. Devils don't kill, they talk. They don't destroy, they tempt. The term devil stands apart from demon in that way. A demon is typically relatively unintelligent engine of violence and destruction. Devils are far more insidious. It is the nemesis card, meaning everyone has a -1 to their pools, unless they are a gallant. It is a -2. You find yourself the entrance of the undersling. A bridge, rickety, or some skiffs piloted by what looks like to be those who live here.
As we walk around just in general, can I keep an eye out for any danger?
You may.
Are any change? Is there a way for Aletris to get like a small link or section of chain and get it in her bag?
Not from here. You're not in the undersling yet. It is this large part of the city, separate from the staircase that you came down. And the chains are attached to the other area. You'd have to go across the bridge first.
And the skiffs are ferrying people across, or just chilling, or...
They're currently chilling. It looks like you are the only ones here at the moment, at least on this side of the bridge.
Wonderful. Well, across the bridge?
Doesn't seem like we have much choice, does it?
I
Which
mean,
makes it an easy one to make. Well, are you still leading the
Maybe.
way?
I might be.
please demonstrate.
They will go first.
It is this time, it is just a rope bridge, as it seems the stone from the last one has already crumbled away. And as you step onto it, it sways heavily. I would like you to make a movement task, please.
Ooh. I will
I'll-
expend a bene.
Yes, I will as well.
That's a 2.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Is anyone else? You are all going to have to roll as you step onto this bridge.
I'll spend Benny.
You
on
need to
movement.
spend before you roll.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't even catch the number on it, but I got a 4, so.
Okay. 6, Aletris.
8.
And Mierge, what was yours?
That's a 2.
Mierge was going first,
Yes.
and their foot goes straight through one of the boards. And they are immediately hip deep.
Whoopsie.
Are you
I
quite
seem
well,
to be in a
darling?
bit of- seem to be in a bit of a pickle here.
You hear raucous laughter from the people over at the skiffs at your fall, Mierge.
At least you're entertaining the locals.
Watch your step. If you want a ride instead of chancing the bridge, we can give you one for some crystal.
Can you?
If you cough up the dough,
How much would that be?
how about you get your ass out of the bridge first and we'll talk?
How boring that might seem. Can I get my ass off the bridge?
With some finagling, and if someone helps you, yes.
Finagling.
Oh,
hate finagling.
I'm not really one for the helping. I'll just take half a step back.
Artist would glare at the skiff captain or whoever it was that yelled out, and it would part between Elliander and Aletris and reach down to help Mierge up out.
Thank you.
How sweet.
There's no emotion, no change. It's just literal, just lift, pull, and then he'd walk straight back and assume where he was before.
All right. I seem to have gotten myself out of the problem, so how about you help me now?
You make your way over to these, it looks like there's 2 skiffs and 2 different people. One of the young men seems to be perpetually crying shadows, and the other one has a hat with living tentacles on it that just kind of move. Every once in a while, one touches its face with a weird suction-y pop. Yeah,
How dreary.
looking to get over to the undersling.
Maybe.
Well, it's your lucky day. We have a special.
Ooh,
It's
is it?
gonna be 10 crystals a pop. Unless you can supply something better.
I think Aletris just rolled her eyes so hard it hurt when they said they had a special. And by special, you mean we pay more because we're new, or we pay less because my friend just entertained you?
Yes.
Mitch bows.
There you go. $30. Vertical.
for the group.
Mm-hmm.
You can make an interaction test. It would, if you have any skills in like persuasion or charming, beguiling, or
Yeah, I have most.
of course you
That
fucking
is-
do.
That's kind of what. Yeah, of course I know.
Of course you fucking do.
Still, I have the ability persuasion.
That's,
Because beauty is compelling.
and you can spend an extra in Benny if you'd like to.
Yes, I will.
Are you
I'll
applying? Are you?
I'll stick with one.
Is there such a thing as helping?
I had to double check, but she kind of took this upon herself, so not in this case.
Well, Zoom is being an absolute trash bag again.
What's your skill level in persuasion, Aletris?
Let me check. Character sheet. 2.
So you have a 2. You're adding a
Yep.
Bene?
Yep.
3. Are you applying hidden knowledge or sortilege?
No.
All right.
I think, like, the knowledge I am better than them is not hidden.
Fair. So you need to, the challenge is 5. So you need to roll at least a 2 on the die.
Ready. That is a perfect 10 on the die.
Sorry, the dies go from 0 to 9.
Then I rolled a 0, I guess.
You did roll a 0, which is
Yeah.
a failure.
Too bad.
45. Like, you're pretty, but not that pretty.
I
That
know, I
might
know. I'm
Be
working
a
on it.
problem for me.
What was that, Swapper?
That might be a problem for me. After all, who knows if I have that much money, really?
That's not my problem.
Is it?
Is it?
45 for the group.
For the group.
Were there 2 different skiffs down here, or is we just talking to one of them right now, correct?
One of them, you're talking to one of them right now. Yeah, the other one's
Okay.
just like, seems like a buddy, but they're just watching in amusement.
Okay, so there's still
Yeah.
a bunch. Okay.
45 to get everyone in our group safely across.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to bottle one of your creepy tears.
I'm not using them for anything, so sure.
Wonderful. I'll take out a little glass vial so they can collect some of their tears.
While the one of them does the vialing, the other one sets up a skiff for you.
Okay.
And begins pushing it over to the edge.
I will take out my crystals and I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First set. 1, 2.
They will patiently wait with this.
Perfect.
They are getting the money either way, and they don't got anything better to do.
Also true. Man, I would have paid 50, but I wanted some of those tears. I'll take this out of my savings.
The skiff is rickety as you hop on, and terrifyingly drops a couple feet after it is pushed off the edge, and you can see far down into the darkness below.
Mechanics question though.
Sure.
I spent Bene on a movement check I ended up not using because we turned away from the bridge after Mierge fell through first.
Okay, then no. If you
That
did not
Bene
go,
still spent?
no. If you did not go across the bridge, you have not spent it.
Okay.
Since Mierge did go first.
Yes. I have a feeling I'm going to need those later. So.
The darkness is below, and it slowly begins to float across this empty expanse over to this large looming district. You can smell a slight tang of iron on the air, and this ferryman looks back at you. Don't normally get your like down here. Usually a little tougher looking.
sure
At
your
that
life is
comment,
fascinating.
the corners of Artas's mouth turn just a little more up as he kind of just gives a slight head cock to that comment of tougher.
What you down here for?
Need some components. You know,
Beasley?
the kind that usually come from people.
All right.
Like, there's just certain things that you can't rip out of people's bodies in other areas.
What?
At least not without them complaining.
She's. They're right.
I take that back. You might fit in better than I thought you would.
Cool.
The ride is long. It's about a mile across.
Is there an incredibly awkward silence?
Only if you want there to be.
Don't ask me what I want.
I think Aletris would just softly sit next to Elliander and go, so if we want to go up from the elbow, all we really have to deal with is the shoulder sock. And I can do really cool things with shoulders.
I think do you have perhaps like a flip book or a look guide that we could talk through, because I mean the work you've done on me to date is impeccable, and I must say I'm becoming a little bit desirous of going back for more.
Wonderful.
Do you want a business
well,
card?
I was about to say, Mierge, take off your shirt and we can get one of those eyes I put in you and see how they look on Elliander. Just for a look, you'll get it back.
A look?
Just a quick peeky poo. As a lookbook.
I think a ride might not be the correct facility.
Probably true. I got some shadow tears. I can see if you want to leak shadows out of somewhere. It's a work in progress.
It's really just upsetting that they weren't doing anything with them. A real missed opportunity.
Agreed. Much to be done. I mean,
Now,
I gesture to Artas as a example of other work I've done, but I don't have the feeling that's the direction you want to go in. No offense, Artas. No offense.
Artas is just watching, not really paying attention to that, but is watching the tentacles every now and then touch the captain's face, and at the sign of a pop, there's just a slight cock of the head, and then back, and just staring ahead of what is coming up as we're going.
Oh, right. If you do desire tentacles, I tend to be a little more creative with them than...
A hat.
Tentacle hat?
Yeah, it's just so, je ne sais quoi. So gauche.
Keep your opinions to yourself.
My apologies, good
You
man.
don't know her very well, do you?
Do enjoy
Apparently,
your
I
tentacle
don't want
hat.
to.
Maybe.
Eventually, your skiff sidles up and lands on the Undersling district. And as you make port, so to speak, you hear a loud crumbling crack as one of the nearby chains falls from the ceiling and past you, hanging off the side and dangling below. Keep your wits about you.
Ugh.
I think that means
Decrepit.
hello.
I have drawn the next card.
Ooh.
On the fourth sun in the path, the indigo. The looming shade. Value of 9, mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. Terror, impending doom, unseen threats. Ghosts and spirits lurk everywhere. Most never interact with mortals. Some shades, however, prey upon mortals, looking to feast upon their fear, their flesh, or their very souls. The looming shade is almost certainly a danger. It is terrifying, but it's not just idle fear. The threat is real. The best possible outcome you can hope for is that it's not a horror that appears now, but is yet to come. So perhaps you can prepare for it. But readying for the unseen is always difficult, even forewarned. How do you expect the unexpected? If you are a stoic, you have a +1 to all your ventures. Gray magic is enhanced and indigo is hindered. You find yourself right at the entrance of the undersling. You see buildings crumbling before you, yet still lived in. Everyone you see, they do kind of give you a glance, but more or less mind their own fucking business. But weapons are at everyone's hips, or in some cases, they are fused directly into their body. So instead of wherever a hand might be, it might just be a revolver. Maybe just like a mace. It's not uncommon you see people with more than 2 arms. There's even one person that walks by with a couple pistols floating behind them.
Mage points at one of the people who just have their hands be a pistol, and then elbow bumps Aletris. Oh, look! That might be something to look into, or is that too practical for you?
It is. It's just... Can we make it something prettier?
A pretty pistol?
Yes. Like something with like an ivory inlay.
That's a definition of pretty.
What if it was made
But
of
I
thoughts
don't know
or
if I agree
emotions?
with-
Mierge, do thoughts and emotions? No. They'll just
I think I
twist
like
it
the
round
healing
and
things.
round and round and get lost again. Then again, Mierge getting lost in their own thought pistol. Now there's a Friday night.
You could say there's a thought.
I really didn't want to go there.
Maybe I did.
Maybe you should.
Speaking of going,
What if we make both of your hands thought pistols?
I think I need my hands.
Do you?
I might. I don't know.
There's an easy way to find out.
Not right
Hold
now. I think.
perfectly still. And Aletris will grab a little hacksaw from her belt. It'll only hurt for a little bit.
I think you might be a liar.
Oh, Mierge. You know I'm a liar.
I don't know if I do.
You should. Anywho, pinion cord, chop chop.
Interesting choice of words.
You begin walking into the district. It seems like every other building is undergoing some kind of repair. You see a lot of rotting wood, rusted metal. Oddly enough, though, all the weapons seem to be in tip-top shape.
You call that oddly?
When everything else is decaying around you,
Priorities.
in some case, even some of the people are decaying. That's not your problem, though.
I mean, if some of the people are decaying, I might be handing out a few more business cards. Just go. There you go.
At least one of them drops your business card on the ground, making eye
That's-
contact you with the entire time.
That's
You
fine.
pass a large facility just labeled the Bent House. There is a bar named Cadavers as you walk by, and inside you can hear the sounds of a fight.
I would like to poke our head in there if that's not too much of a trouble.
It's not.
It is on the way.
It is.
Just your head?
Um,
Is the rest of you
well,
going?
Else's head.
I think I'd have to speak to you about the detaching head bit, but for now I think I might have to pop about 50% of me into the bar to get a
Holy.
good look.
Fair. You pop your head into this bar with a sign called Cadavers on the top. You see a bar, just like with a man behind the counter whose torso is a birdcage. And in the middle is a fighting ring. Bunch of patrons are sitting around and drinking, watching this fight. On the far wall, you do see a kind of like what are they called? The boards were for fighting, were the names and opponents and stuff. With at the top, Cadaver's champion, Erlosk.
Elliander. Now that's a name. Elliander muses to themselves, and they actually step all of their body inside of this bar real quick to go up to the bird cage counter service, the person at the counter with the bird cage body, and they will kind of motion for a drink to be brought to them. Something that makes the spirit bubble, if you could. But I had a question for you, if you don't mind my asking.
This person with the birdcage torso, which as you get closer, you see that there is a person inside hanging upside down from where a bird would perch. Looks at you and begins putting a drink together, pouring from a couple different decanters. At least one of them looks thick and viscous and red. And slides it over to you. 2 crystal? What's the
2
question?
crystal. If someone was, let's say, new in town.
So yourself.
No, just someone, but I understand why you would think that, perhaps. Let's say someone was new in town. What would your word of wisdom be to them?
Word of wisdom. Everyone for themselves.
That's so droll. Is there really nothing more than that? Everyone for themselves? Everyone polish your own blades?
If you don't want to get hurt, you need to prove yourself.
Now, is there a specific way of proving oneself that's a little bit less, does it have to be so bloody is what I'm asking?
As I said, if you're new in town, you wouldn't already know this. We're fairly simple folk down here. Fists and blades and guns. Very straightforward.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly call that simple or straightforward. You should give yourself a little bit more credit. I mean, these are the things that the greatest stories are made of, but I suppose you do have a point. Or perhaps it's a bullet you have.
A mace. So close.
A mace will do quite nicely. I guess I will take my drink on the go.
Be my guest.
And Elliander, with a little bit more knowledge of this place and a little word of warning, will slip back to the group, carrying a to-go cup of some sort in hand.
Elliander, has anybody ever told you that you have terrible impulse control?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Would you like some? We can.
What did you order?
Something bubbly for the spirit. I'm not sure if it contains thought forms or if it contains just liquids, but either way, it's quite delicious.
Whose spirit?
Oh, just, my spirit, their spirit. You know how they make drinks down here. Well, I don't know, but I was pretending I know.
Your spirit?
One that pairs nicely with it. Kind of like buying a wine that pairs nicely with a cheese. You have to have a drink that pairs well with your spirit. I'm feeling rather bubbly, so I wanted a bubbly drink. It makes perfect sense.
A spirit for your spirit.
And cheese is involved, apparently.
I'll take a
Always
sip
involved.
if you're offering.
And I think as maybe the group continues down, Elliander will gladly share this bubbly spirited drink with anyone who wants to try.
Midge will take a sip.
So will Aletris. What could possibly go wrong?
Artas will not.
It is warm, and you feel
Poison.
no, not poison.
You're not the DM, Swapper. You don't get to poison us yet.
I'm sorry.
You feel electricity bubble through your veins. As you continue on to Pinion Court, you do pass a couple other bars, at least 3 fist fights in the back alleyways. One group seems to be doing a business transaction with a young man, and he's holding a book or two, talking to this very tall, shadowy figure. Neither of them give you any look. And eventually, you make your way into Pinion Court. Pinion Court is a large cobblestone square. And laying on these cobblestones within piles are hundreds of feathers of varying sizes. Some are your stereotypical white angel feathers, or of other colors like gray or white, gray, blue, black, but some are a little more unconventional. Several have eyes on them with a black or red background. Some are light, and so on and so forth. The square is still, and while you feel the wind that is semi-constant down here, none of the feathers move.
Artas, darling. Would you like
He
to go
cocks his
pick
head.
up one of those nice white feathers for me?
Artist nods and he approaches one of the feathers and would use his cane to push the feather just a little bit. Just to see, moving them around, if disruption since they're not moving with the breeze.
If you touch them, they move.
Okay. He will reach down and pick one of the feathers up then. And if he has a feather with no issues or anything like that, he will bring it over to Aletris.
I'll take the feather. Do I
It's a-
notice anything highly suspicious about it?
It's a feather.
Just a feather?
It's just a feather.
Well, I need a fair amount, so I'll just set to collecting some.
There are plenty. Is anyone else assisting? Okay.
Seeing that there's like different colors and some are with eyes and some are without, I would ask Elliander and whoever else is helping to get like a nice selection of at least a bunch of the white ones for like the main part of what I'm making, but then some of the eye ones so I can outline it with feathers with eyes and
Okay.
then 14 of the gray ones.
Artist won't actually be collecting. He will be walking around and through the 3 of them as they are picking up, watching anybody who would be approaching or anything that is going on.
Sure. As you are all collecting feathers and Artists, you are keeping watch, so to speak. Artists, I would like you to make a resist defense roll. So if you have any skills in resist, you may add that to your venture. If you would like to add a bene, you can pull from intellect.
Okay, I'll use the bene and pull from intellect.
Okay. Do you have any skills in resist?
No. Dodge doesn't count as a resist, does it?
Not
That's what I thought,
not,
yeah.
Dodging
Nope,
is like
so-
movement, so.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. So yeah, I have nothing in resist then.
Okay.
So the one bene.
You will need to roll your
Can I
d10.
do a hidden knowledge on this one too, or just the bene from intelligence?
You can use hidden knowledge. Tell me how this applies. What little bit of knowledge do you know that assists in resisting this mental attack?
In previous jobs that Artas has had, he has ventured into some of the more unlively areas and places like this, and he is always more astute and aware, hence why he was watching as the group was cleaning. He is constantly not just looking for the physical side, but knowing and sensing for the magical side of it as well.
Okay.
So that would be 2 going into this, right?
Yes, this will be 2 going to this.
Okay. And what am I rolling to beat, or do I just roll and tell you what it is?
So you used 2. Your venture is at a 2.
Mhm.
The challenge is a 5.
Okay.
You will need to roll at least a 3.
Okay. And that will be a 9.
You immediately are able to resist as you feel something try to possess you. And from one of these alleyways, you see a tall, wispy figure of a ghost. The ghosts are very common. They live here as they are part of the dead from the Pale. But this one looks angry as you feel its hand try to meld into you, and it grabs your head from right behind you.
But it did not take effect. It was just that feeling of it.
Correct. It did not take effect, but as soon as it did, you do see it. And we're going to go into an action scene, which is essentially, in this case, combat.
Okay.
And a loud, loud screech of anger. The other 3 of you gathering feathers hears. So the way action scenes work is you will roll a d10. You can apply movement bene if you wish to bring down the challenge, and it's creatures before the thing, creatures, and then creatures, the rest of you after the thing. So it's very flexible.
I'll spend the movement bene I ended up not spending on the bridge.
Okay.
Elliander is extremely focused on picking up the correct colors and the correct number of each one of them.
And Aletris loves you for it.
If you used a movement bene, you would at least need to get a 4 to go before it. What did the rest of you get? Oh, Mierge. I see you, Mierge.
It was just slow.
Apparently, I just have such amazing faith in my helpers that I did not at all consider my minions right now. I spent my bene and I got an 8 on the die.
Okay. Artas and Aletris are before this spirit. Elliander and Mierge are not. You can go in any order you would like. Artas and Aletris.
Aletris would happily let Artas go first.
Okay, we're talking about a ghost here, huh?
Yeah. It has no tangible form.
Yeah, that's no fun. Let's see here. Grinning, for right now, Artis is just going to position himself between the ghost and the other 3. Defensively too, but he's also going to kind of be nonchalant with it. He's kind of standing again like he was on the boat, shoulder width, feet apart, cane centered down between them.
Mm-hmm.
But you've noticed that on his face, that marble look, there's on the right hand side down by the cheek area, it started to crack, and there's some smaller pieces kind of falling off to reveal some dark and scarred coloring below it. and there's a little bit more of an upturn on that side of the smile. And with that, he's going to. Can I taunt this thing?
What are you trying to do? Just taunt it, or what do you?
Yes. I would really like it to have its attention focused at me.
Okay. You can roll an interaction task.
Okay.
Challenge is 5. And if you succeed, it'll be focused on you. What are you saying to it?
It's not really going to be saying anything. It's more of just, I'm going to turn with a really cocky, that head turn, and you're going to hear a neck snap, like the bone crack, and he just will adjust and roll the shoulders. And then again, once again, he'll just tap his cane solidly on the ground while he does it.
Okay.
And you said I can do an interaction on this one, correct?
Correct.
I will do 1 bene into that.
Okay.
And we'll roll. Ooh, that's a 1 though.
It has a very lopsided grin. The fact that you can see this ghost means it's higher level than you would expect. Usually they are staying invisible, but it snubs you as you try to intimidate it. Aletris.
So ghosts in general are really common, but ghosts that you can see and attack you are not that normal.
It's less common, and it's not uncommon, but it just
common
really
enough
shows
for Aletris to know that like her dagger or her bladed fan wouldn't be very useful.
correct. I'd say that's very common sense that physical attacks are not going to do much against these things.
Yeah. And this one, because was Aletris aware that it tried to harm Artas? Atras?
Maybe not harm, but it definitely made itself known after. It sounded like a yell of frustration.
Okay. Remind me how spellcasting works again.
You're a weaver.
I am. I have diamond and wind. So I was hoping to form some kind of protective element.
Okay. What 2 aggregates are you going to weave together for what effect? And I'll let you know how much sorcery you need to spend.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because wind has the quality invisibility. Would that help me see invisible things and interact with them? I'm also, like, Aletris is a little worried that this isn't the only ghost.
Tell me what you're going to weave and what you're trying to do, and I'll let you know if it's possible.
Okay. I'm going to weave... Oh, fuck if there's other ones. I'm going to weave wind and diamond. And I'm going to try and pull enough threads together to make kind of an incorporeal lattice work.
Okay.
Mainly around, depending on what I can do. If it, like, honestly, if it can only do me, I'll only do me. If I can include some of my friends, I'll include some of my friends.
So wind and diamond are the aggregates. What are the 2 qualities underneath of each of those are you weaving together?
I'm sorry, because you first asked aggregates.
Yeah, sorry.
I wanted strength.
Okay.
From diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And hang on, let me scroll back up to wind, because why would I ever write anything down?
Grace, speech, breath, invisibility, and weather.
Yes, I wanted to use invisibility, because I don't want the ghosts to see it. And I think whatever would normally make a ghost invisible can be used in my barrier against them.
So if
It
something
leans on the incorporeal thing.
So you're trying to make a barrier where if they try to come for you, they get hurt.
Yes.
Okay. I will say, and how long would you like it to last?
Look, Artas is gonna deal with this real quick. Just a few rounds.
Okay. Diamond has 1 round. Heart
Wind
has
is
1
also
round.
1 round.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like it to last 2 to 3 rounds, you'll need to spend 4 or 5 sorcery. Or how much damage do you want to do? A lot, a little?
Yeah, I don't want to do that much damage. I mainly want them to not touch me.
3 or 4 if you want it to last more than 1 round. If you want it to last 2
I'll-
rounds, it'll be 3 sorcery. 4 rounds will be 3 rounds will be 4 sorcery.
I'll spend 4 sorcery.
2 rounds for 2 damage. If they come at you.
3 rounds.
5
4
sorcery.
sorcery.
3 rounds for. Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'll do it.
Perfect.
Goodbye, sorcery points.
Hey Mango, can you pet the cat for me? Thank you. The spirit turns to you, Mierge. And it kind of reaches one hand out to you. And you feel cold. Needs you to make a resist defense roll.
Is this a mental effect?
It is.
Ooh, I have protection against that. I've got +1.
Yep.
I also roll really shittily, so that's a 2.
Yeah, you take 3. You take a point of anguish as you feel this mental effect rack your mind. Reminder: if you hit 3 anguish, you die, or 3
That's not good,
wounds,
is it?
you die. Elliander or Mierge, whatever order you would like to go.
Please. Oh, please.
Elliander was so caught up in collecting the right feathers that when this creature kind of makes itself apparent, they're not thinking totally properly about what this thing is. And I don't know if Elliander's ever fought a non-corporeal being before. So their tried and true weapon, the thing they always reach to when they're in trouble, is this bladed fan at their hip, made of shards of stained glass, each pane a different color and reflecting a different shade of beautiful, glorious light. And that whips out from one hand, and then immediately the other goes to behind Elliander, where they wear sort of a glass mantle, and extracts it from their body. And now they're holding 2 of these bladed glass fans, and immediately they just float up to the ghost, to this being, and they try to slash at its body with the first and then that second fan.
Since it is incorporeal, they do just pass right through.
And I think there's this moment of horrible realization. Feathers are kind of falling from Elliander's body in pockets. They're being lost to the court that they
Not the
came here
feathers!
for. But the feathers with the thing. Oh gosh, don't strike it with. Well, I guess you'll already figured that out. Shit.
Mierge.
Mierge will touch their head and look very confused for a second, and then grab on to what just happened and send something nice back. A lot of rumors, perhaps, whispers, I'd say. Oh, question rather, if the ghost is even good enough, if it can do this. What did it think? I would like to weave together alleyways and infinity.
What 2 qualities are you?
Mental damage, and I think I'm gonna use either rumor or whispers. I think rumor to basically make it really depressed.
How much?
I don't want it to flee. I want it to cry and stop.
How much sorcery are you spending on this? That'll impact how much damage it's gonna do to it.
Is it a damage thing?
Mental damage.
Okay, fair.
How much are you gonna spend? How much sorcery? This will also
much?
determine
Let's
if you need to roll or
say-
not.
Let's say 3.
Okay, you will need to roll. Since you are casting magic, you will need to roll a regular die and a magic die. Please keep track of which one is which, because you might roll a flux, which will impose complications if you roll a 0 on the magic.
Oh no.
You're spending 3 sorcery, so you subtract 3 from the challenge, so you need to at least roll a 2.
I would very confidently say that I can do that, but I know where that road leads to. Oh, exactly 2 on the normal die and 4 on the magic.
These whispered rumors that you say to this ghost, and it screeches again as you deal 3 damage to it. And it clutches its head in pain. Back to the top for Artas and Aletris.
Yeah. Seeing Elliander's blades go through in the panic now, Artist, knowing his weapon will do nothing, but is going to place himself between, kind of slide Elliander back some, if she, except like, to protect a position behind her, not assuming that he can move her without her approval, but, and watching the ghost now grab its own head, he's kind of just looking at this thing and shocked and kind of can at all, because he got nothing else he can do really. The one thing he can do would not help any of us, it would hurt us more, so he's just gonna kind of sit and wait and hope this turns out well.
So you're not going to do anything this turn?
I've got nothing that's gonna do anything to this ghost.
Okay. Aletris?
I freaking bring you for protection, and I'm the one wasting my sorcery points on this? Ah, Artas! You piece of... I am taking that face back once we get back to my shop. This is fine. Everything is fine. I'm going to fucking end you. Right. Anyway, apparently I need to deal with the ghost. Somehow. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Didn't take any damage yet from my fun little...
No, it seemed to have gone for Mierge.
Great. Needs must. I'm gonna walk up to the ghost. I'm gonna try and force it into my protective barrier.
Okay. I would say it's usually you only take 1 per turn, but I'll say you're close enough to get within touch range of it. It just you spent 3 sorcery to create 4 sorcery. Do a quick roll to see if you can aim correctly as you walk towards it with your invisible lattice work blades. Two,
7.
you rolled 2d10?
I rolled 1d10. Do I get 2?
It's because it's a magic effect.
Oh, because I'm magic. No, it's not a magic effect. I'm magic.
Both.
Double 7s.
Your barrier, even though it's just a wispy, visible spirit, but your invisible lattice work tears its smoke, tears it into the smoke that is its body and form, and it once again screeches and stumbles back a little bit, and it turns to Mierge, who just kind of fucked it up a bit, turns to you, Aletris, and begins to backtrack away and flee.
Come to my change room if you want to look any better next time, you piece of trash.
The echoing of its whimpered whispers fades away. And a couple of seconds later, Aletris, you feel your magic fade from around you.
It's fine. 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 Elliander, be a dear and start gathering feathers again.
Oh, right, of course. But I'm so sorry I dropped these ones. Should I get new ones because these were on the floor a second time, or should we just...
As long as there's no scuff marks.
All right, I guess... Yes, of course.
What was that?
A distraction?
Really? Why would somebody want to distract you?
Honestly, a lot of things want my attention.
Are you sure
Anyway.
about that?
No. Sureties for lesser people. Artas, be a
That
dear and keep an
might be
eye out for
true.
things you can deal with.
With that, Artis would readjust the cufflinks in his suit and re-straighten his tie. Then go back
Aletris is
to
fixing a crown she's not
walking.
actually wearing.
would go back around to watching the group.
And as you continue to gather feathers, we'll take a quick break. So everybody, hydrate, stretch, and we'll be back in, 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
Bye. And we have returned. I hope everyone took a nice, lovely break, pet their pets, got some water or coffee or tea, etc. We have returned after our lovely Weasley fighting a spirit. And once again, I believe we are picking up feathers, or maybe taking a breather.
Aletris is having a breather. She'll occasionally remark to Elliander, no, one more to the right.
Oh, right. That one was a little bit scuffed. Your eye really is impeccable.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.
Just one of them?
I mean, the other one isn't mine, technically.
Technicalities.
I will take the rest action and refill my sorcery pool.
Okay.
I will dare not do that.
After our break, I'm also going to pull another card. This is going to be on the Indigo Sun, I believe. 2, 3. Nope, the Gray Sun. The Monarch. Value of 9. Notions, cats, clocks, and wind. Authority, judgment, the land, the world. Ruler, authority, sovereign. The monarch stands above all and passes judgment. Their command must be obeyed because there is no other choice. The monarch isn't the ruler of the world, they are the world. They represent reality itself. They claim authority over you because you are a small part of them. You can no more refuse than your little finger can refuse to move as directed by your mind. You are a gear that turns on a vast machine, and the monarch is the machine. The monarch, as the name would suggest, is the sovereign of the notions family. They guide and direct through thought and idea. Everyone gets a +1 to all actions unless you are an ardent, meaning you get a +2 to all your ventures. Fairly quickly, while you are still in the middle of picking up your feathers, you hear the loud clump of booted feet making your way towards Pinion Court.
this would be a good time to actually stash most of my feathers and look innocent. Yet threatening. Definitely threatening. Wings out a little wider.
Eventually, not too long after, a young, fit teenager enters a Pinion Court. He has dark skin and close cropped black hair. And he has several weapons stashed upon him. And he folds his arms, is like, "What's the commotion over here? On authority of the Gerent, please tell me what's going on." And you all know the Gerent is the name for the local authority of a district.
I mean, scuffle? Disturbance?
We might have been attacked by a ghost.
And fought it off. Hardly a disturbance.
Damn, there was a fight and I missed it.
Yeah, well, stick around. Ghost like to come back.
Great. All right. He gives you all a quick once over.
I will preen.
And he will turn on his heel and walk away.
Beautiful.
Another, you hear off in the distance the large, loud crack of metal. And another chain falls from the ceiling, thwacking against the side of the district of the Undersling.
A lot of things seem to be happening here. Are we done? We got the feathers, did we not?
If you have enough.
I think we have enough feathers by now. Would you say I have enough feathers, Mayor?
I'd say...
With 3 people gathering them?
With 3 people gathering and with the quantity of feathers on this ground, you have more than enough. It's just a matter of time picking them up.
Wonderful.
Where to?
I didn't technically tell my friends, but we're going to go back to the Marquis Court. Pronto.
You are all aware that the Marquis Quarter is basically the center of the city, where the hoity-toities essentially live, where all leadership is, courts in general. Fancy schmancy. It's where the deathless triumvirate lives, who rules Saturnine.
Yes. Well, be on your best behavior then.
I think as they start moving, I think Elliander will lean close to Aletris and say, just above a whisper, "Are we perhaps going to speak with your client?"
Well, I'd prefer if the rest of you didn't actually speak to them.
I'll
be working on them.
You'll be working on them. Well, I think I must admit I have a vested interest in the Great Ravenwood, is it?
I wouldn't call him great.
There are some peculiarities about our relationship that mean I must refer to them with some kind of honorific. Whether or not I believe it is another thing, but the Great Ravenwood seems...
Is it specifically the Great Ravenwood for an honorific, or did you get to choose? Is there a selection? Is there a list?
I'd say it's more of a feeling. Right now, Great seems good enough to not get me any watch lists, but not so deferential. I feel as though I'm owing them anything they haven't earned. If that makes any amount of sense.
I mean, you generally make more sense than Mierge.
Well, I think Mierge is perfectly clear most of the time. But I suppose that's another matter entirely. If it would not be so much of an imposition, I would like to join you for your meeting with the Great Ravenwood.
Now, understand. Our relationship so far has been mainly business, although I find you fascinating and quite attractive. However, trust is another matter entirely. Would you be injuring the person in question?
Oh, perhaps with a snide remark, but only if it's earned. Certainly nothing physical would go down.
Because I would hate for all my work to go to waste.
And
I'm crafting something quite amazing for them.
Interesting. I think that in this we have business interests that overlap and align in some ways, for I would also not to lose what I have been building. Though I believe both of us could keep some of those secrets to ourselves.
Very well. I mean, my contract mainly stipulated components, creation, and haste. Very little was mentioned about companions.
A third C. I think it fits right in.
Great.
While
Thank you.
Elliander and Aletris are having this conversation, and I'm assuming the group of you are heading back towards the entrance to the Undersling.
Yes.
Okay. What are you doing, Artas and Mierge?
Artist would have been same way we came in, following behind, probably just making sure, especially after the encounter with the ghost, that there is nothing following, that there's nothing that would be trying to get at us. Paying a little bit more watchful eye after what had happened in the court, the court area.
Do you want to roll a Oh, go ahead. Side. Go ahead.
Okay. Mage would pretend to listen in, but not actually listen in.
Artist, do you want to roll a perception task?
Sure.
I'm not gonna say it's super hard. Maybe like a challenge 3 or 4. 4. We'll go with 4.
I am going to do one Bene from perception then.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that gives me a 4 on the dice. With the Bene, I had to be the 3, right?
Yeah, with the Bene, you needed
Okay.
a 3.
Okay.
You're looking around, and you do see some of the residents just keeping an eye on your group. They're not doing anything, but they're watching you walk away.
Okay. Artist will no longer be using his cane to actually walk. He'll have it in his left hand.
Okay.
As he's watching the crowd and the people.
Very well. All 4 of you eventually do make it back to the edge of the district. And you see that the skiffs are on the other side. The bridge is still there.
Mierge, I'm going to ask a question. I know you won't answer with a straight answer, but I'm going to try anyway. Can you handle this bridge? Can you make it across unarmed within a reasonable amount of time? And by reasonable amount of time, I mean within the next 2 minutes.
Can I weave something?
You may weave something. Go for it.
I would like to weave together stealth. No, wait, probably trickery and space. And like to move myself, and just myself, across the bridge. Oh, but trickery and movement is probably the better.
What was it? Movement and what? What are the 2?
Trickery.
Movement and trickery.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that applies. Where the hell is my levels by effect table?
I can give you move a very long distance instantly is 4.
I think you'd have to go 1 more above that.
Shit, then I do need to rest.
But you can.
I
Because
know.
it's much longer than what you're trying to do. Oh, it's right here. Duh.
So.
You would need to spend 5 to move a mile, because it's about a mile.
Alright. Yeah, I'll do that then. So I'll take a breath and then just fold and reappear. Just on where I was before.
On the other side of the canyon, yes?
If you want to call it that, yes.
Mierge has disappeared. And you don't see them clearly because it is a mile gap. But there was one extra little person on the other side of the expanse.
Wonderful. So, with weaving, I always have to weave 2 things together.
Yes. At
But
least
can
at
they-
this level.
Yeah, but can they both be from wind?
No. Each one has to be different. You have to choose one from each aggregate.
Can I weave gravity and so many good options?
There's always
Can
there's so many.
Can I weave gravity and weather and combine those with my wings to simply fly across?
Yes. That would be 5 sorcery.
I'll just rest again on the other side. I'll rest forever.
Mierge has disappeared, and Aletris begins flying across the expanse.
With a. You two have got that handled, right? Over my shoulder.
Elliander and Artas.
Handled is not the word I would use for how I'm feeling right now. Artist, do you have anything in mind for this?
There's a bridge.
Artist simply walks up to the bridge and taps it with his cane.
Straightforward, direct. All right, the bridge is.
As you two begin to walk across this bridge, I need you both to make a movement task to avoid any weak planks.
Now I do have the acrobatics skill.
I would say that
In
applies.
this case, that would apply.
I would
So
say that applies.
and it's level 1, so that takes a notch off, right?
Correct.
And then I will also take a movement.
Okay.
I will also throw a movement bane at this. Elliander was a little bit too flippant the first time they crossed the bridge, but after seeing what happened last time, they're a little bit more careful.
Challenge is 4.
4 on the dice, and mine would have been 2 on that one.
Yes.
So, cool.
Though the bridge sways unsettlingly, you are able to maybe like in 15 to 20 minutes walk your way across. It is a very long bridge, but you are able to make it across safely and without injury.
Artist would have made sure that Elliander was off the bridge first. He wouldn't have stepped off before her.
Okay.
Now, Artis, have you ever wished you could fly or perhaps glide across something? That trick our dear friend did was rather something. I think I might be looking into that for myself.
But staring into the very emotionless eyes, you just get a slight shake of the head no.
Just so.
Aletris.
And then he just kind of
Go ahead.
motions a hand towards the other two.
You have all reconvened.
Mechanics question.
Yes.
Do we have to spend an action rest if they take 10 or 20 minutes?
No. You can take
Okay.
you only have 2 action rests, a 10-minute rest and
Yeah.
an hour, but you have to use them for those amounts. So if you want to use your 10-minute rest instead, you can.
Okay. And that has the same refilling
Yeah,
abilities
it's-
as an action? Okay.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, you have to use the actions as an action. You can't say you want to use an action rest as a 10-minute rest. You have to use your
Yeah.
10. Yeah.
How did we rule the wound thing? Because I am still quite gravely wounded.
You have 1 anguish.
That is quite gravely wounded.
I guess. I was gonna say if you if you do one of your rests, you can get rid of 1 anguish.
I mean, 1 anguish is 1/3 of the way dead. That's
true.
That's not good.
Listen, that's not my problem, okay?
Well,
It's mine.
It is.
is it?
Just, I'm not a character right now.
So I will let you do whatever you want with your rests.
That's what my sorcery points at.
Sorcery. Okay.
Also, I just want to look pretty.
You're always pretty. It's fine.
Wonderful.
Aletris and Mierge, Elliander and Artas have made their way.
Oh, hello.
I'm
Shall we?
glad to have that both figuratively and literally behind me. Yes, can we?
I was about to ask,
you
do
want
you
me to
require
burn it?
rest? Mierge, don't. We don't have time. We simply don't.
I require nothing more than the next bullet point in the story we're blending together. But if the next bullet point is a brief respite, then that is fine by me.
I'm quite rested. I was more concerned about your, honestly, long walk.
Perhaps they were enjoying the scenery.
Ugh, perish the thought. Onward then. We have a deadline. And if
We
we miss
have?
it, quite literally. Yes, well. Needs must.
The walk is once again long up into this large stone staircase leading back up into the Confederacy of Cloisters. It is quiet, but not too quiet, especially since you do see a funeral procession of a group all in an ugly yellow, actually, making their way down one of the streets as you enter back up.
Question.
Yes.
When you say funeral procession, other than the hideous yellow, would they be carrying the body? Or is it in a chest? Or...
It is in a... What is it called? You see a coffin?
Coffin?
Yes,
in a
thank you.
Hmm.
But the coffin is made out of a crystal, a jagged crystal intertwined together. And it sparkles in the indigo sun.
Aletris is just gonna write a quick little note to herself as she keeps walking.
Okay. You do know that in order to get to the Marquis Quarter, you need to head back upon the Indigo Rail. The Marquis Quarter is in the middle, basically almost directly in the middle of the city.
Do we just need to take the Indigo Rail, or do we need, like, passes or papers, or...
No, it's just the Indigo Rail. Like, the Marquis Quarter is where a lot of, like, the paper and judicial stuff happens.
Yeah.
And people go there to get it done, but you don't need anything special to enter. It's just another part of the city.
Great.
You board the Indigo Rail. And once again, the ruined expanses of destroyed city pass you by. When the scene outside sometimes makes a loop-de-loop, or looks like it's about to ram into a ruined building, but immediately swerves. But again, you feel nothing on this very smooth ride.
I thought you were gonna say because you're all dead inside, but that works.
How long does this take?
I will say it takes about 30 minutes, because the ride down took about an hour. From the Hollows to the Confederacy of Cloisters took about an hour. And you have to head halfway back up north, so about 30 minutes.
I'll take a nap and dream of jazz.
What happens when you take a nap? Mierge?
Almost the same thing that happens when they're teleported. They just kind of fold in on themselves and disappear. There is, however, a shadow left. It might be theirs.
Aletris,
Might not.
I think you've known Mierge long enough as to what happens. Do you want to tell them, Mierge, where you went?
Home.
You know their home isn't a dream.
I think Aletris in the past would have tried to, like, see if she can turn a dream into a nightmare, but right now she doesn't have to focus.
It probably worked.
I do. Aletris would like to have a little more conversation with Elliander, but just generalized, because I know they do. What's the word? Assorted jobs, I think.
A bit of a freelancer.
Exactly. So I have a project. Quite a large one.
Large, you say?
Well, depends on your sense of scale, really.
Enlighten me.
When we were, before we woke up, have you ever heard of the Statue of Liberty? Or the Colossus of Rhodos?
I have heard of both, but never seen either. Are they truly as large as people said they were?
Yes, quite, yes. That would be my starting fee.
For you?
Well, no, for what I'm making.
I mean,
But-
you would look rather spectacular at that scale, but I suppose we should talk more about the project.
You're really too kind. I need a lot of things for this project, and so far Mierge has been helping me. But you've met them. They can be a little... them. I might need someone a little more... straightforward? Reliable?
I don't know if I would call myself either one of those, but I guess when you're playing a game of comparisons, anything can be anything.
Especially when one of the things is Mierge.
Oh, now don't be too harsh. I have found them to be a rather dedicated person to their work. We have had some instances of being able to work together in the past that I have found reliable in their own way.
Exactly. In their own way. I'm trying to bring my vision to life. And some of my instructions are, in fact, very specific. Whereas Mierge is more of the interpretive kind.
Well, the farther the object takes me to go and get it, the more interested I am in finding it. So I suppose we can discuss logistics and specifics and the places.
At some point.
I would like that.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Artas and Mierge, are you having any conversations? Or, well, Mierge, you're at home. But Artas, are you doing anything?
When we got onto the train as it was moving, Artis would have gotten a glimpse of himself in the mirror or off the windows and realized that he had started to crack and pieces had gone. Almost a little bit of a slumped shoulder at that point in time. If anybody would have been paying attention when he noticed that, he would have specifically departed from the group and found a corner of the car where no one could pay attention to him. And he'd reach in his pocket, and anybody that would have been around could hear almost like what you could think of as like sandpaper rubbing across another sheet of sandpaper. And white powder gathers a little bit on the floor under him. And while they're conversing and Mierge is sleeping, he would have been working on that for a bit until the fact that he would have seen in the reflection that his face was back to being whole again. It's just that straight white as marble tone, the two eyes, there's no chips, cracks, or anything in it again. It's just flat out smooth stoned, emotionless. And at that, he would have tried to push the powder around below him. Once again, straighten his tie, fix his cufflinks, roll, and you'd hear the crack in the shoulders. Roll his shoulders back, and walk back to where the rest of everybody was.
While you are doing this, maybe like a couple rows down from you, you do notice like a little kid in the middle of licking a lollipop staring at you as you do this.
As I walk by the kid, then to go back to the group, I literally just would have walked by and gave a slight cock of the head, a little bit of a lean forward, and then just abruptly turn and walk away.
About 30.
I think
Go ahead.
by the time we got back to Aletris, and the conversation with Elliander would have been done, I would, despite my earlier outburst, since I am a well-adjusted adult who is in control of herself, I would like to apologize for my outburst.
At the well-adjusted part, Artas cocks his head just slightly.
I will apologize for my outburst. Once, exactly. And I would like it if you would let me know if your face requires a touch-up. People know it's my work.
He would touch where it had been fixed, knowing that he had enough supplies from the past to fix when he needed, as he must. And with the tip of the hat, he would know how, but just like that action of acknowledging the apology for the cutting words earlier. Yes, the quote apology.
The I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt apology.
Which they weren't. You have to have feelings to hurt them.
Oh.
I mean, I'd have to care to actually apologize.
Yep.
Anyway.
The Indigo Rail does eventually arrive in the Marquise Quarter, where I have drawn the next card, pulled and played on the Pale Sun. The Mysterious Rune, a value of 9, Secrets, Raven, Books, and Flames. So if you are a gallant, you have a +1 to your ventures. Meanings: magic, mystery, wordless communication. Words are spells and spells are words. Runes encode words. They hide them in plain sight. Store them. If you can decipher the rune, you gain its meaning and thus its power. Those who scribe a rune, or even those who hold the book or other object the rune marks, are its masters. The Secrets family holds the mystery of rune along with all its hidden meanings. It is not an unknowable truth, but a secret that can be learned, although it is likely a difficult and dangerous one. Red magic is enhanced and blue is hindered. I'm assuming you return, Mierge?
I presume somebody knocks.
I knock. I'm well aware. What did Gallants have a
return.
+1 on?
Their ventures, if you need to roll.
Are we there?
No, but we do need to exit the train. Also, I would have thought you were above asking such things with qualifiers as the word there, but sure.
When you do all exit the train, you enter out into the Marquise Quarter, which is the seat of power in Saturnine. High above the city, you see a knife-like stone structure floating above the center, pointed towards the ground. You would know that this is where the Deathless Triumphant live, though no one goes up, no one goes down. People know that is their residence and where they do business. Everything is very baroque and fancy and wrought iron or columns of marble everywhere. You see nicely pruned parks and some of the highest current fashions walking the streets. A person walks by and you see that their entire body is made out of words. Every 20 feet, you see more and more buildings glittering and opulent. way too many fountains than there needs to be. It is very much, and as you walk by, the very distinct feeling you get from people who at least live and work here is that New York feel. They're all on their business, keep going, don't even give you a second glance. You would know, you would have the address, Aletris. They live in a marble statue in the park.
I mean, I have opinions on that, but I, for once, will keep those to myself. And we'll be going straight there.
You make your way to the address given to you to go see your client, August Ravenwood. The marble statue that sits in this park has his name in a very small mailbox on like the hand of like the statue. It's super tiny. And one other hand is out in a handshake, the statue.
How unsanitary. I'll shake the hand.
And with a unnoticeable whoosh, very, very faint, you find yourself in an opulent entryway of marble. The three of you see Aletris vanish.
Can I also shake the hand?
You may. The same
Ooh,
thing
Does
happens.
something happen? Oh.
Artas and Elliander,
really
you see
fun.
Mierge vanish.
Ooh.
I think Elliander looks to Artas first and says, should I go or should you go?
Artist motions for you to go as he's pondering and like running a finger down the marble statue, the texture feel.
It's very cool to the touch.
Elliander gives a polite nod, and as she does so, shakes the hand.
You as well find yourself in this entryway now. Artas?
Artist touches his own face, looks at the statue once more, and then reaches out and shakes its hand.
The four of you find yourself in this beautiful entryway, and very quickly after the artist has entered, a figure approaches you. The entire body seems to be made of marble. No real facial features, just a blank face. Almost like a mannequin that you would find at a store but made out of marble. You would know that this is a thought form. Is essentially the equivalent of a construct in Dungeons and Dragons. They are created for mundane jobs or specific purposes. And this one gives you for a bow. Who do I say is calling?
Aletris Aya from the Changery and her assistants.
Yes, very well. You are expected by Sir Ravenwood. And it turns around and leads you in. You see several rooms. One or two of them are open. There is a library, and another thought form leaves what looks to be an office. And eventually you are led into a center column that goes up and down, and you do see hanging in the center of this large spiral staircase a heart made out of marble. And you head up until eventually you enter a room with a man sitting at a table there who promptly stands, nods to the thought form. Ah, Aletris. Thank you for this rush job. It is greatly appreciated.
Oh,
I
not at all.
Was not expecting guests. And then he turns his gaze to the three of you. August Ravenwood is a very average-heighted man with very dark black hair and pale skin. Not marble, but definitely not regular skin. It looks like it's very smooth and perfect, similar to like what Aletris has done to their skin. You specifically, Elliander, and you would probably know this as well, Aletris, he is a 5th degree Vance as part of the Vancian Order. There are a couple bookshelves. There were bookshelves everywhere, let's be realistic.
No pressure on what I'm doing to this person. No pressure.
I was not expecting guests. Go ahead.
As Elliander enters the room and the great Ravenwood, or Sir Ravenwood, or perhaps the Honorable Ravenwood becomes apparent, Elliander will very respectfully incline their head and then fix their mind like a pinpoint on what Elliander knows this person's day job to be. Because Elliander knows that they are a assistant to one of the members of the Telemeric court, which are, of course, the folks who oversee all of the Vance. And Elliander fixes their mind on this seat of power that Ravenwood has, and then will cast Zweil's Profuse Admiration.
What does that
which
do?
is a level 1 spell that Vances cast upon each other, or rather, lower level Vances cast on higher level Vances to show respect.
All right.
Is that a bow spell? That's amazing.
Is this a Vance spell?
Yes.
Basically, courtesy in spell form.
I do have a quick question. Do you let it go, or do you try to retain your Vance spell?
Elliander will try to retain this one because this is a spell that, as a member of the Vancian Order, she needs to essentially have on hand at all times to not cause offense to anyone.
You may spend 1 sorcery to retain your spell, and as you cast this spell, it tries to escape out of your mouth. It's like a little wisp of smoke, but you bring it back in. And as you cast this spell, August nods and inclines his head at you. Well met.
Again, rush job. I require some assistance to hand me feathers as I shape things that aren't feathers.
Yes, very well. I completely understand.
Normally in the changery I have other weavers, but one makes do when one must.
I have a room set up. How long do you expect this to take?
Oh, 2 complete wings?
Yes.
No structure currently in place underneath anything?
Not on me at the moment, but there is a structure ready.
Oh, that helps. That makes it a craft. A few hours, since we'll be placing the feathers one at a time.
Yes, very well. I anticipated your arrival, though I did not expect guests, but, and a thought form enters. Please set up the, rest area with more additional beverages and hors d'oeuvres, please, for our guests and Aletris's, help. And it's
Minions.
Minions. And it scurries away to do as he says. Yes, come. He was at a desk, and he closes a book, puts it in a drawer, and locks it, and leads you away.
Mierge will place a hand on Aletris' shoulder as they walk, and whisper into their ear. Do you think it's a good idea to slight me?
Do you think I could lie to you any less than I could breathe?
I don't think that matters to you, does it?
I barely lied. It's a rush job. I needed feathers. And now we're putting them on him.
They retreat.
Oh.
August brings you up another floor or two, roughly about where the head in the statue would be. And actually, there are two large windows that view out into the park where this statue is. I am at your will and mercy, Aletris, and if the work is suitable, you will be paid.
What if it's not?
They get
We'll be
paid
the one
less.
paying. That's how it works.
Yes.
I'm well aware.
And we don't have to go into a lot of details because
There's a lot of lines
changeries-
and veils about
Yes.
ripping people apart and putting them back
Yes.
together.
The changeries are not pleasant, and as a bit of reference, setting reference for everyone else, it's canon that there are memory erosion spells placed on you after you have work done at the changeries.
Yep. Because otherwise you'd never come back, and that's bad for business. Don't
Who
give
does
your
these
customers
spells?
PTSD.
Out of interest, who does these spells?
It would be part of the job. Aletris would have some, in this case, some to-go ephemera or incantations to place on her clients when she is done here.
Does it happen that those accidentally erase more than they should?
I mean, no. Yes, but no.
Interesting.
You wouldn't know. Like, how would you know? You know, you don't know anymore. You're fine. It's safe. You signed a waiver.
I forgot to read this out when we introduced ourselves to August. So the next card played on the red sun is the Misunderstood Beast. There's a lot of M's. Value 0, notions, cats, clocks, and wind. If you are an ardent, you get a +1 to all your adventures. Meanings, mistakes, gentleness, friendship, danger, and betrayal. The Misunderstood Beast is a gentle giant, not a murderous monster. It seeks our friendship, not our flesh. Can we see past its physical nature and ascertain its truth? Will we even try? Snap judgments can result in horrific mistakes. We judge something by its appearance, or simply by the initial reaction it churns in our heart. But the real truth of a thing can rarely be ascertained so quickly. This misstep can catch us from either direction. We might judge something ugly as evil when it is not, or we might assume someone pleasant is a friend when they are not. Either way, we are harmed or at least lessened as a result. Green magic is enhanced, pale is reduced. Aletris. Whether it takes several hours or not, you can take breaks as needed. But
Good.
while Aletris starts, Elliander, Artas, and Mierge, what are you doing? Please note that August Ravenwood has set up a rest area for your group along with hors d'oeuvres, drinks, some entertainment. There is music playing in the corner for you, as well as loads upon loads of books, which Vizsla are usually naturally drawn to. There are the exceptions, but majority of Vizsla do like to read.
First of all, I would like to know that I in no way, shape, or form help Aletris, if she intended to, ever.
You helped me by staying away.
Oh, I know, which I am explicitly not. I don't hinder you much. And I will try to catch Elliander for a conversation. Hello there.
Well, hello.
Who is that, do you think?
It's less a matter of who I think they are and what I know them to be.
What
They
do you
are
know them
rather
to be?
important within my order.
What's your stance towards them?
My order, or the Honorable Ravenwood, or... Either way, it's a rather blasphemous question, don't you think?
I mean, will you answer it?
Depends on why you ask it.
Why would I know?
I will answer your question with another question.
Ooh.
In a home with so many books, why is there one that must be locked away?
What interesting question you've posed me.
Now, I'm not saying I do or do not respect the most gracious host Ravenwood, but what I am saying is that book is the only one I care about, and I intend to get my hands on it while we're here.
Do you need help?
If it's being offered, yes.
Would you take it?
Yes.
I would say that this conversation is happening within earshot, Artas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, artist would have been examining or just kind of closely looking at one of the thought forms. Realizing
They
did
mostly
they
leave
walk
you
up?
alone.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was one kind of hanging out in that room or not. We'll scratch that then. From perusing the book titles,
What was that? I'm sorry, one more time.
from looking through the book titles,
What about 'em?
hearing that we're possibly maybe some kind of trickery afoot going to happen, artist would have turned and slightly cocked his head at the fact of the offer of help and the mention of a locked drawer. He takes
Do
2
you think
steps forward.
Artis?
He just nonchalantly glanced at the doorway back to the way we came.
Do you think that's an issue?
Well then, if something were to happen, you would need to lead the way.
With that reference, artist just pulls his cane back in front of him and puts his hands back in the stance that they've seen a few times already. And just, you ever so slightly see a little bit of a black crack starting to form where that mouth was again. Not much, it's about an inch, and that's about it.
Now, GM, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
These thought forms, would we know if they are like sentient? Would they deliver information back to Ravenwood? Would it be a problem if a thought form saw us do something?
So, thought forms are intelligent, sentient. The major difference is they don't have a soul. But
So it would be a problem.
Yes.
Very innocent question here, but
Innocent.
of
Okay.
whom are they thought forms?
What was that?
Of whom are they thought forms? Somebody has to create them, right?
Yeah, they are made. There are places and things like I don't want to say factory, but like the equivalent of.
I'm not saying factory, but
I'm not saying factory, but I mean factory.
okay.
Yeah, they're created.
Okay, and they're connected to.
It's not a hive mind,
Okay.
but they do. These seem to serve Ravenwood.
And coming to the second innocent question, if something were to happen to him.
They're still alive.
Oh,
They're separate entities. They are a creature.
actually, that makes it more interesting. Go on.
Do you tell Aletris anything?
While Aletris is, I think, maybe on a break and rejoins us through the group, Elliander will sidle up close and speak lowly. Do you think it would be possible during your next stint of work if it was particularly loud and particularly long, and perhaps the kind of thing that might require our gracious host to summon the majority of his thought forms to his side? For no nefarious purposes, of course.
Of course. We may need to discuss your definition of nefarious at some point in the future.
Add that to the list.
Trust thing. Are you doing anything that would get me into trouble?
No, certainly not. You will have a perfect alibi for whatever may or may not be happening.
Ah, yes, but I was the one who let you in.
Technically, but you did speak rather poorly of us. We are but minions, so that's certainly a point in your favor.
Good help is so hard to find these days.
Exactly. You could pin whatever may or may not happen on us. It would be but a simple, it'd be like a little bit of a scandal for you, but I don't think anything. You could fire us in front of him.
Oh, wonderful. I do love dramatic firings.
How many dramatic firings have you done, Aletris?
A fair number of them, but they're usually like my boss overrules me and rehires people. One of my goals in life is to become the boss, so the people I fire stay fired.
Does any one of us actually work for you?
No.
Absolutely
no,
not.
Absolutely none of you. That is entirely irrelevant in Aletris' worldview.
Okay.
I suppose I could bring the bone saw a little forward and start to graft.
Ooh.
I suppose I would need the thought forms to hold up the structure I've been adding feathers to. It's really quite heavy. Considering how little feather weighs, he really didn't choose a very good structure, but, you know, choices.
All of that sounds perfectly harmless to me.
That's all that
You
matters.
you understand, of course. I'm only telling you this so you may plan your breaks and days and not so you may do nefarious things.
Oh, of course not. That would be rather sordid, and I would never dare to do something like that, or at least not so openly.
Indeed. Well, in that case, I will not wish you luck with whatever it is you're about to do. And I will, get grafting. I do love the part where I get to use the bone saw.
Anniek, Aletris.
Yes.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to get more help to assist with grafting these wings onto your client. So I'm going to need you to make some kind of persuasion or intimidation check to get as many as you can up here to assist you.
I would like to use persuasion. I am skilled in persuasion. I will add Bene from my interaction pool as well.
Okay. Are you adding any hidden knowledge or using any sortilege?
I don't think I want to... Hidden knowledge-wise, I think I want to point out very... I don't know how conscious my client currently is, but I just want to point out... No. It's really quite important when fusing wings to someone's shoulder blades and spine that everything is perfectly aligned. So the more people or thought forms holding everything perfectly in place without moving as I start to fuse things together, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So any hidden knowledge I have about carrying capacity of thought forms and biology would be useful here.
Okay. So I will let you don't know the challenge.
No.
But it sounds like you have 2 in persuasion, a bene, and a hidden knowledge that reduces the challenge by 4.
I'll add a sortilege as well.
Okay. How are
I still
you?
have some.
Since this is the first sortilege of the game, for reference for everyone else, sortilege is just you enforcing your will upon the currents of magic in the world. which will give you a second die to roll and assist you and give you a better chance of succeeding. How do you enforce your will upon magic?
Look, magic knows what it's here for. It's here to make things prettier, more beautiful, and more perfect. And it better listen to me, because I'm the authority on what is beautiful and what is perfect. And these wings are going to be perfect.
Okay. So keep an eye on which one is your magic die, and let me know what you get on both, please.
Different colored ones.
Yes.
Okay. I have a... oof, that is rough. At least it's not the important one. I have a 7 on the magic one.
Okay.
And a 6 on the other one.
Oh, you succeed. Tell me what happens.
Well, for one, I get every single thought form they have here. All like using two fingers on each hand to perfectly position this construct of... I'm assuming, considering the theme of his house, that the construct I'm grafting feathers onto is also made of marble, which is why it's so hideously heavy. And they're holding it in place perfectly as I focus my magic on fusing this graft onto the shoulder blades and parts of the spine. After I spend about half an hour to an hour with a bone saw, just making enough notches to make sure I have areas for like the tendons to go and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make sure the skin is once again smooth and flawless and poreless, because everyone knows pores are bad.
Which he's already undergone at the changeries, by the way.
I want to make sure that the new area grows back the same way the rest. Just right.
As Aletris begins noisily working on her client, what are the rest of the three of you doing?
What are we doing?
After seeing them all go, Artas would have started making his way, if he can remember the way back, towards the office and down the stairs, etc. Not looking suspicious, of course he has no emotional characteristic, but just walking like he has a purpose, and would probably be in the front.
As
just
always.
out of instinct, yeah.
Easy
We
enough.
are following Artas, dear Mierge.
Ooh.
Easy enough.
Until we got to the office, in which case Artis would usher them or wait for them to go in the door, and then he would stand in the doorway looking back out where we came.
The door is locked.
Can I try and look for any kind of untoward... this is a very D&D thought, but can I look for any untoward magical traps and shit that might prevent us from, doing nefarious things to this poor person's office?
Sure. It'd be a perception task.
Mm-hmm. I have a skill of understanding esoteric magic. Will that apply here?
If I recall correctly, that's the Weaver skill of magic.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna say no, because in terms of, because Vance also gets a very similar skill, which is like ordered magic. Weavers are like on the opposite end of that, and you're in a Weaver and you're in a Vance house, so it really won't apply.
That is fair. Right. I'll use a Bene from perception.
Sure.
I am very afraid of this door.
See, Invisible Sun is the same as D&D. Just throw a locked door in front of your players.
Doors. That is an 8.
You do see that there is some kind of spell on this door. You do. Yes.
I presume that's the full information.
Yeah, there are some like runes in the
fair.
door. If you want to try and roll an intellect task to see what it might do, I'd say you're more than welcome to.
Sure. I'm not gonna spend anything on it. That's a 10.
That's a 0.
0.
No, that's a 9 plus 1 since we still have a +1 from.
Oh, okay. So you rolled a 9, but it.
Yes, a 9 plus.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, in that case, yes. Despite you having the background of a weaver, where the magic is very spontaneous and you're just taking concepts and weaving them together to create an effect, you're able to tell what this spell is. This very ordered magic of base the runes and how they are engraved on the door. You would know that if you entered the door, you would be compelled to leave.
Do I know what would happen if somebody else entered who's not a weaver?
It's hard to tell. It's not that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
did you say weave or leave?
Leave.
That makes much more sense.
Yeah. You'd be compelled to leave. Like if you entered, you'd be compelled to turn around and leave.
This is invisible sound. I was like, okay. All right.
Do you
This
tell
might be
your
a bit
companions?
I do, but not in a way that is very helpful, I'm afraid.
You are relayed
just-
this information.
Looks at the door and pats suit and opens up. His suit and pulls from the inside pocket a very odd and ornately shaped key.
Artas, are you sure?
Oh, wrong card.
Artist nods and puts the key into the hole, unlocks, and hopefully opens the door.
For those of you in the audience, what artists use is something called a wicked key. Wicked keys are a key that can be used to remove any barrier. Period. It does not actually have to be a door. Describe what happens, artists. Besides the obvious.
It's very nonchalant. There's like nothing that really happens. It's so mundane in the fact of how he uses it and so nonchalant that it's almost like a haha, we can just get right in if we want. And I'm assuming the key disappears.
Disintegrates. It disintegrates.
And a little bit more of the spot, the where his smile would be, a little bit longer it gets. It starts etching up in the corners just a touch, almost as if you'd think this marble-like face is enjoying the fact that it's so easy to bypass something that should have been not able to happen.
The door opens. And if you step in,
Artas,
you don't feel the compulsion.
I could kiss you, or I could slap you on the back, or perhaps I should just nod quietly in thanks. Thank you so much.
I adjust my tie and just motion through the door for...
You don't feel the compulsion as you enter.
At this point, I use. I should have probably done this sooner, but I will use the incantation that I have, the Vanishing Shadows Presage Disaster, which alert me whenever the next time someone's sneaking up on me. It seems like a correct moment to use it.
It just gives you a heads up if someone's trying to sneak up on you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially, hey, you!
You enter August's office, and every wall is filled with bookshelves. There's even bookshelves on the ceiling, staring down at you. And there is a large desk ornately carved. Everything is ordered and neat, with quills set up, like 3 quills set up on the right, a small stack of paper on the left, and a very comfortable looking chair. And there's a
Now,
couple
what
like
would happen?
regular leather chairs too for guests.
What would happen if we were to move something?
You gonna stick around to find out if you do?
If I had to make a guess, this library is as ordered as their magic is, so I don't know if we should move anything, but I do want to open another unopenable lock. And Elliander will very quickly kind of float over to that desk where there is that drawer where that book that was locked away was locked away. And from Elliander's kind of chest, she will pull another similar key to what Artas had. But this one, it glimmers and shines just a little bit, and hopefully it seems as if it was made to open this lock.
This one opens, and once again, the second key breaks into a dozen, more than a dozen, glass pieces that sparkle away out of existence. And the drawer is unlocked, where inside you see a large tome. Not his Vancian spellbook, but there is a book untitled in there.
I think Elliander's actually excited that it's not a spell book, because that would be just so droll and tell her just so little about what is on this man's mind. And so she grabs for that book and is going to try to kind of take it out and put it on the desk. And as she does so, they are once again just kind of babbling to Artas. Really, I was expecting to use my key on the desk, but if I had to use it on the door, I'll just nod and thank you. I'd really thank you.
What are you doing with the book? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Mierge.
Is it possible that you were being literal about this?
Why would you think I wasn't being literal about this? I said I wanted a book, and here we are.
I suppose. Well then, I turn around and leave.
Do you open the book, Elliander?
Yes.
Inside, you see a lot of notes and itineraries for Virkal Camillin, who is a member of the Telemeric Court.
It is a name Elliander knows well, but I think their eyes still open wide when she sees what she sees.
What are you doing with the book?
Elliander wants to steal it, but is remembering their own words. There's no way this Vance doesn't know every object, every mote of dust in this office. So stealing it's out of the question. So instead, Elliander is going to try and read and memorize as much of this, specifically the itinerary, as inhumanly possible.
Roll an intellect task. And I heard inhumanly possible. Do you want to use sortilege?
Yes, I would.
Do you want to use hidden knowledge?
Yes, and I'd also like to add an intellect bene.
Okay, the challenge is reduced by 2, and you are using rolling your 2 dice with the sortilege. How are you inhumanely trying to memorize this book?
I think we see some of the pieces of glass from Elliander's arm swirl into a shape that almost looks like a library, like something similar to this room is being depicted, and then some of those glass forms turn onto the other side, and Elliander will pull a etching stylus out of, their pockets and begin to actually try to etch some of these words and notions into their own form.
You may roll. Your challenge is reduced by 2. You don't know the challenge.
Perfect. All right. Ooh, a 4 on both dice.
That succeeds. The challenge was 6.
Just.
Yes, just. May I narrate a little bit on how this happens? Instead of as you etch into your glass, it sinks into your, it's not skin, but it is your form. As many pages as you can, you're focusing specifically on the itinerary, which is out like 4 or 5 months for this member of the Telemeric court. And when you try to recall it from underneath this stained glass, it kind of raises up to the surface, and you're able to read beyond it through the color of your skin. And you're successful.
Oh, this is... The Elliander's absolutely buzzing, trying to piece together a actual cogent thought, but everything they have is being thrown into the etching and memorization, before finally looking back to kind of their 2 friends, perhaps.
I think
who are
Mierge
here.
left.
Or Mierge left? Artas, do you think we have much more time, or are we approaching overstaying our welcome?
Artis just shrugs.
I
And
mean,
goes
I
back
will
to
point
looking
out
down
at some point the screaming stops from the other room.
Yeah, at some point.
Right. Better to fly close to the sun and feel its warmth than to get too close and be burnt up whole. Give me a moment to put this back how it was. And Elliander will close the book or rearrange the papers so that they're in hopefully the exact same arrangement they were before, close the book, and then put it back inside of the desk.
Okay. And I'm assuming you all head back up to where Aletris is working and the screams have died down. Mierge, did you do anything specific after you left while Elliander was sketching?
I would rejoin Aletris and observe the process.
As long as Aletris doesn't kick you out, it is easily observable. It's not pleasant.
Might be a bit harder to observe after she kicks me out.
Mierge, I told you to stay out of my aura while I'm working.
I am I?
No, my aura is all encompassing. Get out. Out. I will point out, normally Aletris is just completely put together, like American Beauty Queen plus. When she's working, her hair is disheveled. Her horns are not quite symmetrical for some reason. And she doesn't particularly care about bits getting anywhere. So it's quite a sight.
Screaming at me, really? If you want, I could get out, but it might have consequences later.
Aletris will grab a bone saw and throw it at Mierge's head.
They get out.
And as you
Thanking you.
as you finish up your work on August, you are paid, Aletris, 5 mage coins. And for assisting Aletris, everyone else gets 2.
Is the is the process done already?
After when Aletris finishes, yes.
Then there is something I would like to do just
Okay.
before she finishes, of course.
Of course, Mierge.
Which is I will re-enter the chamber
Operation room.
operation room. And look at her. Are you done?
I'm dealing with the memory part.
Oh, really?
Just sort of going, there. Shh.
Mierge will sidle up to the other side of August.
Yeah.
Which is weird because when they sidle up, you normally know when somebody kind of is peeking over your shoulder. You don't know that. Remember how I helped you when you were fighting the ghost?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the other 50%. And they will bow down to the body of her patient and touch him upon the shoulder.
No, I
You
just
are
fixed
dead.
the shoulder.
And I will use my secret soul to consume.
Please, read out to me your secret soul, Mierge, and
Sure.
you're a shithead.
I know, thank you. One NPC that the character touches is consumed utterly and forever.
The body or the soul? I don't know.
That does not.
I know which one this
It
is.
just says the abyss.
Yeah, consumed. Aletris.
I don't get paid, and I did all this for nothing.
Yeah, you don't get paid. Aletris. Your client is consumed in a dark abyss as Mierge uses their secret soul, which you know to be the abyss. And they are gone from your sight along with... I don't think you really care about him, but your work is gone.
And my payment.
And your payment. But there is a price to using your secret soul. You know Mierge's true name, which you can use in leverage whenever you like.
Oh, that's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be often.
And we will end the game with that. Thank you, everybody, for showing up
Hello.
for the
Hello.
Invisible Sun one-shot. Yeah, that was a ride. I was not expecting that. Love it. Fucking love it. Hell yeah. So we'll go around, say our favorite parts of the session, introduce who we are, and even though this is a one-shot, I would still like to do like the character advancement stuff, quote unquote. I don't know, maybe in case you decide to come back for another game. You have some acumen and joy and despair to use. So, advancement is, tell me if you think you advanced your character arc, whether you gain a joy or despair for the session, like self-explanatory, whether you feel more joy or despair, and then let us know who you are and where we can find you, and your favorite part. Who would like to go first?
I'll go
Anniek?
first.
Okay.
Do you want to do the character advancement first, or who we are and where they can find us first?
Let's do character advancement favorite part, and then where we can find you.
Okay. Character advancement. Have I advanced my arc? I think I have, actually. I have some lovely materials and a new person to help me. I don't know if you want me to tell people what my arc is.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Unless you want to.
Well, I'll leave it unspecified, but I have the creation arc, which shall come as no surprise to most people. It's a very tough one if it was joy or despair, because I'm very upset about my wings being gone that I just made. On the other hand, I now own Mierge and his true name. Sorry, their true name. They're my bitch. And that makes me very, very happy. If, like, the wings were a price to pay. I may not have chosen to pay it, but fuck, that's a good payoff. I like power. A lot. So I think I gained a lot of joy today.
And you get one acumen.
Writing this down because I've actually been playing Aletris several times now. All right. My favorite part. I mean, I just want Aletris and Elliander to be happy together forever. There's everything between them. They're a terrifying power couple and the world should be afraid.
I would like to quickly note the card I didn't play, the last one I drew, is the Whispering Lover. The cards always know.
Let me grab my little ship card.
I'm surprised you didn't use it.
I mean, it's bad manners to use it on yourself. Also, I was very busy flirting.
Fair.
Having said all of that, my name is Anniek. You can find me on Twitter at Anniekster. I run games on channels. I run Uncaged on Open for Adventure on Wednesdays. I'm running 10 Candles on Eva Serrates on the 24th and 31st of January. I'm in Mothership as a player on the 30th of January, also on Eva Serrates' channel. And everything else has either no channel, nor date, or no players. So stay tuned for more. I have many plans, and scheduling is a CR30 beast.
It sucks.
It's the worst. It's our time zones. That was it for me.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go ahead and do it. What are we doing first? We're doing the character push through.
Advancement, yeah.
Story arc. I didn't go neither pro or con, I don't feel, in that one.
Okay, that's okay.
I mean, we could go advance a little bit in the fact of the train scene and putting himself back together. But I don't think that was too strong as far as he could have gone, so.
What was your character arc again?
The character arc on this one was Fallen from Grace.
I would say that you helping to break in and steal stuff is a nice little step falling from grace.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with that one then. So yeah, he progressed in that then. Joy, there was some joy. He did enjoy the fact of doing some mischief, and especially unlocking a door in such an advanced high member's house. To be able to do that was a lot of joy for him. Am I missing another part on the advancement?
No, you're not.
Okay. Favorite part. I'm gonna go with the going back across the bridge scene, just because it was so cool to see Mierge just be like poof, and then I'll just be like, "Oh, you guys can do this, right? I'm flying!" Like 2 big middle fingers right there. And I really thought that was a lot of fun and kind of just a fun group moment of seeing, okay, now we got to figure out how we're going across, and gave them a chance to rest at the same time. So I think that was one of my favorite things. So other than that, I'm Mitch D. I go by Mitch_D78 on Twitter. If you're following me, I'm probably already following you because I pretty much just follow all these amazing people and all these great communities that I've been lucky enough to find and be part of. I don't play too many stream games. I think most time people are scared to put me in them, which good, right? If you see the lunacy that can happen at times.
Last night.
Yeah. Slime T-Rex. Yeah. Anyway, I love all these people. I had a lot of fun. So, thanks. That was it for me.
I'll go next then. Oh dear. This is an interesting one. I am not sure if I advanced my arc, since my arc is aiding a friend.
Yeah, well,
which
it's like back
I
and
kind
forth.
of. I there's a step forward, and then there was a huge step back, and then there was somebody else stepping forward, and then somebody else stepped back. Which I think is very much in Mierge's spirit. I think they would like that on some level.
I'll let it be your choice so that you get the acumen, because you did advance, but you were also a dick.
I know, but I don't think they did so on purpose. It was more like a force of nature kind of thing. So I'll say I advance.
Okay, you get an acumen.
Very generously of me, I think. What's the next one? Joy and Despair, right?
Joy and Despair.
There was definitely joy upon the, I think the entire first half, just fighting ghosts of collecting feathers, confusing guards and teenagers, and just generally being a delight. That was quite joyous. The second part was incredibly full of despair. First, the book wasn't a metaphor. Then the office break-in was so incredibly smooth. It just happened. There was nothing. And then their good friend brought them to do something which they did not want to do, which is speak the truth in order to use their secret soul to kill somebody. One of these parts is more important than the other one, so yeah, I think both were there in some measure.
But which one are you taking?
I think I'm going to take despair.
Okay. And then, where your favorite part? Where we
right,
find you?
I also exist as a person. I forgot. God, this game is fucky. Hello, I am Swapper. You can find me on Open for Adventure every Wednesday, where I am being GM'd by Anniek over there with cursed items and Face It. You can find me every second and fourth Saturday for those of you who are unattentive, on Twitch TV. I fucked it up. Twitch.tv/Evasarid, where I am GMing a D&D 5e urban campaign called City of Shadows. Apart from that, I actually don't have anything. I know, it's shocking. My favourite moment of the session... Fuck, there were so many good ones. I think I'll have to go with the bar scene and Elliander. I don't know, that stuck with me for some reason. I just like the... I'm just gonna peek my head in. Oh, don't help me. Here I go. Hello, I'm in the bar now.
And
That's it.
Sarah.
I guess first, thank you so much for this game, everyone. It's been an absolute delight. So, Elliander's character art is Undo a Wrong. I will not share what that particular wrong is, but I will say that finding very specific notes that detail where a member of the Telemeric court will be for the next perhaps 4 months or so is absolutely instrumental for what Elliander is trying to look into and potentially undo. So definitely advanced a character arc. And I think that being able to, the moment of seeing that this book that got locked away was something actually helpful, is definitely joy. Though the question I have is, would Elliander find out or know that Sir Ravenwood was wholly consumed?
There's a fair amount of screaming coming from that room, and it's not Sir Ravenwood.
I think, because if Elliander finds out what happened, then it actually might end up being despair for the entire session. So maybe it's a neutral on which way that one goes.
Do we want to roll a heads or tails or evens and odds
I
to
like
see
that.
if you know?
Yeah, evens joy, odds despair.
Sure, why not? When in doubt, leave it up to luck.
Are you rolling or am I?
Oh, you can roll if you want.
Oh. Odds. Despair.
Yeah, you know that he was consumed.
So Elliander's riding one high, but struggling with another, knowing that they were within close proximity of a very important member of their organization disappearing. But that will take me to my favorite part, which is all of the little details that everyone here kind of put into like those moments of their characters doing something. So Aletris adjusting the crown that doesn't actually exist. Mierge like disappearing into this like shadowy dimension that's both their form as well as like another place. Artas like sandpapering away and creating the like powdered stone or whatever the mask is made out of, but creating a little pile as the sanding is going. I absolutely live for those kinds of details. As for where you can find me, my name on Twitter is Sarah L. Kinney. I post the things I get up to there, so if you want to find out, just give me a follow. Otherwise, also definitely go follow all of these people.
I think I only have a command for Anniek. I couldn't remember if I had any for anyone else. Well, we got Anniek's in there. Plus mine. Hi, I'm Mare, and you can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice. I also play on Open for Adventure, sometimes DM. Not playing anything right now, but our Season 2 premiere of Numenera Remnant premieres on Saturday, February 6th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where I will be playing Licton Brattersby. We just had a very emotional season finale last month, and I am still distraught over it. I will be running another one-shot on my channel on February 14th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It is a City of Mist game. On Friday, February 5th, I will be playing in a Wild Mage one-shot at 7:30 Eastern on Open for Adventure. And tomorrow morning, my husband Mango and I will be playing Golden Sun on my channel. And we'll be starting up the second game with guests. Heck yeah. My favorite part was Mierge teleporting across the bridge, but also just them fucking up Aletris's work. That was beautiful. Oh, thank you, Seth. Also on my channel, starting in February, I will be running a campaign of Invisible Sun on my channel. The date is still being hammered out depending on when we're going to get character art, but it's probably going to be the 6th or the 13th. I think that's right. Yeah, the 6th or the 13th, and it'll be at 1 or 1:30 on Saturdays. Am I missing anything else? All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to go raid Sephi, Persephoroth. She is an amazing person in the TTRPG community and has just recently got affiliate on Twitch, and she's currently playing Legend of Mana. So everyone go give her some love and have a wonderful weekend.
Bask in her sassiness.
Oh yeah, bask in her sassiness. It's fantastic. Bye.